everyone, and welcome once again to Middle Earth HR's YouTube channel. This week we'll be talking about the 5 steps to making effective educational videos. Now, how quickly can we change a channel? Well, the answer is very simple, barely a second. And when it comes to educational videos, frankly, I think it takes even less time. So let's start by understanding our learners. What do adult learners really want? Well, few points there. Most important, adult learners don't want to waste time. They don't want you to go round and round in circles telling some things they already know. So finding your target audience, defining it very well is key to making good content. The second thing, importance of what you are teaching. They like to know it. They should know why each part of the module is important. That is the effective element of your design. You have to understand the importance of everything that you are studying. The third is the structure. How are you going to structure it so that it becomes easy for them to actually assimilate the content? Next, well, adult learners like to be involved in their own learning, which means you try to make it interactive, try to talk to them, try to engage them by using different methodologies so that the learning becomes much more deeper and it actually goes into the brain. Finally, they like to repeat what they have learned. That means they like to be told the same thing a couple of times so that every type of learner in the group gets access or understands what is being taught. Now, is that a tall order? Well, if you follow the principles of design, when it comes to making videos, it is done and it can be done in a much better way. So let us see, what are the 5 steps for making effective educational videos? So let's start with step 1. Step 1 is planning your content. 80% of your time has to be spent on planning your content. You have to decide exactly whom you're talking with, what you're going to do, what is going to be your sequence, everything. Because if you don't get this right, guess what will happen? Your implementation will start having weaknesses. So, what are the kind of questions that you need to ask when you're brainstorming? Who is your target audience? Seems pretty obvious. So if you do not define your target audience well, your sequencing of content is going to go a little off. If it's too senior, the kind of case studies, for instance, you would take up would start changing. Your games would start changing. Based on your target audience, you're going to decide on the logical flow or the sequence. Now, when you're doing this, while you're planning this, while you write down exactly how much time you're going to spend on each part of the module, you have to decide how much information is actually essential and how much is nice to have. As subject matter experts, we know a lot of stuff. But is it essential for the learner to know that at this level? Maybe not. So you need to start actually planning what is it that I can cut out. Now, most important, how does a video connect up with the rest of the program design? Remember, there's a background and a foreground. Whatever you're teaching will be part of the overall program structure, right? You could be teaching, let's say, written communication as part of communication skills. So what would be the connection between the 2 program designs is what we have to look at. Are they really in sync or not? The second part, as I said, once you have decided exactly whom you're writing for and the sequence, you've got it in your mind. The second thing is actually writing the script. Now for that, the most important is the format. So we write down roughly the amount of time that we're going to spend, the audio part of it, what is it that you're going to say, and the video, which includes a PPT. We need to put, are we going to put a clip over here? What is it that you're going to put? Now, once we start putting it together, you start getting the entire picture in your mind. You can actually visualize it. You can see whether it's actually linking up or not. Because a lot of things which are there in our heads, when we're talking about it, it seems to make a lot of sense. But when we start actually implementing it, we tend to find, somehow or other it's not matching up. So doing it on paper first gives you a very good idea as to what will show exactly how your end product is going to look like. Now, once I have, so we have to plan exactly how we are going to sound. What is going to be your tone, your voice? What kind of a relationship do you want to build up? Now, a lot of times people tend to use formal language. If you're a teacher, you have to be a little formal. It gives you a sense of power maybe, and that's the way you've learned it. But the fact is, when you're making a video, it's a one-way communication. So if you use heavy sounding language, which is not conversational in style, believe it or not, it gets a little heavy on the ear. So your tone should be as if you're talking to the person and not, being didactic, teaching. So conversational tone means you're using short words. Very casual words almost. Using action words. Let's take a couple of examples. Let's take this sentence. Brazil was beaten by Spain versus Spain beat Brazil. What do you think sounds better to the ears? I think the second sentence obviously sounds much better because it's shorter. The words are shorter. And it's using what we call action verbs. If I say Brazil was beaten by Spain, it's a bit of a mouthful and heavier on the ears of the listener. Let's take the other words. Procrastination. Now, we all know the word. We know what it means. But honestly, when we use the word procrastination, it has a heavier sound. Compare it to a word like delay. It's casual. It's more conversational. And it actually makes more sense somehow. Examine versus check. Again, number of syllables. Examine has 2, check has 1. So the lighter the number of syllables, the fewer the number of syllables, leads to a more conversational style. Now, the third thing that I'm going to look at is the tools of engagement. Engagement means engaging your listener. Remember, it's extremely difficult to engage people, when it's an online method. You're having a video. How do you build some kind of interactivity? What do you do? So it's both the visual content and the kind of exercises that you built along with it. For instance, the look and feel of the visual content. Sometimes I find designers tend to go overboard when it comes to the beautification of the slide. They'll put so many things, flashing lights almost. But though they create a certain sense of glamour to the whole thing, learning becomes inhibited because the learner's attention is on too many things. So keep it clean. Keep it very, very neat so that the attention is completely on the content or not on other things. So it should be simple and elegant using infographics. Infographics really help you focus on what you want to make as a focus point. Create a lot of engagement tools like polls, role plays, case studies, small exercises, quizzes, games, a lot of these things so that the learning keeps getting repeated, practiced, and people get learning in small bites instead of very large bites. Number 4 is getting it right. Once you have written it, once you have done it, you've done it in your mind, you've worked with the content, with your team, decided exactly what is going to come first and what is going to come second. Our entire focus is getting it right. Now, a lot of times people tend to practice. A lot of times people can just go ahead and start speaking in front of a camera. And some people are very talented and can carry it off. Most of the time they can't. So it makes a lot of sense to rehearse well. You have to practice your script. You have to make sure that the content, the timing is right. The focus on specific words is there. The pausing is correct. Now, one way of doing that is to read the entire script very slowly. Right? Now, just read it almost as if you are pausing after every word. This gives you the right time and the tempo. This is just a way to practice. Now, once you have rehearsed it, you know exactly where you're going to put the pauses, where you're going to put the, your stresses. Is your modulation right? That's when you need to do the next thing, which is recording and editing. Now, this requires, of course, a lot of professional support. You need to have good equipment. You need to ensure that your room is soundproof and your lighting is good. Everything has been balanced and taken care of. And after that, we do the actual recording. Because until and unless your entire preparation is not taken care of in a proper way, this last step can go for a toss. And this is the final product. So with that, we come to the end of this learning video. I hope you found it useful, and it'll be great if you can like, subscribe, share, and let us know what you think about it in the comment section. So with that, see you soon.